Well, tonight, the new Patriotic Party is calling on the office of the Special Prosecutor to launch a formal investigation into the Chief Executive Officer of Gold Board, Sammy Gyamfi, over the recent dollar gift controversy. Now, the party alleges that there are serious questions surrounding the source of Mr. Gyamfi's wealth and insists that his actions may constitute a breach of Ghana's foreign exchange laws. The MPP is arguing that only a thorough, independent probe can establish whether any financial misconduct or impropriety has occurred. This is coming few hours after a private citizen, Eric Dumenu Akachi, filed a petition with the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Shraj, calling for an investigation into the matter. The petitioner alleges that Mr. Gyamfi has been involved in suspicious financial activities, citing an amount exceeding 100 million Ghana cedis lodged in his two consolidated bank accounts shortly after assuming office. A member of our legal affairs desk, Kwaku Asante, joins with more details. Kwaku, let's understand the details of this petition.
So, this petition that was filed this morning at the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice by one Eric Dumenu Akachi says that he is bringing a petition under Article 218E of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic with regards to videos in circulation about Samuel Gyamfi, that is Sammy Gyamfi, a public office holder who was captured on camera splashing dollars on one Agrada in his Range Rover. He says, as a public interest advocate, it has come to his attention that a said Sammy Gyamfi currently has two private bank accounts and consolidated, that is at the Consolidated Bank Ghana. One is a dollar account, the other being a Cedi account. He says credible intelligence available to him reveals that these two accounts have a whopping sum of 100 million Ghana cedis as lodgements in those accounts. He says it is important to understand that this account, he is reliably informed through credible intelligence that prior to Sammy Gyamfi's current position as Gold Board CEO, those accounts never had those set inflows. And he contends that, I quote, including the slashing of dollars on St. May, it leads one to only irresistible conclusion with the accuracy of mathematics that these are perfect instances of alleged engagement in suspected corruption, which falls within the investigative mandate of Shraj. I am by this complaint calling for a full-scale investigation into the source of the money and says it's readily available to assist with any investigation that Shraj will conduct into this matter, Brice.
Okay, grateful to you. Now, the petitioner himself has been speaking on this particular petition he sent to Shraj, and he says he's hopeful a Shraj investigation will settle the doubts.
Crying for more money, corruption, allegations here and there. And more times, when these things come to the public domain, we treat it as such. But there are institutions of state that are clothed with powers to do such investigations and bring any perpetrator to book. So I have been a crusader long ago. I have been someone who championed a fight against corruption. So that is the main purpose. For Shraj to investigate the claims and also come out with any substantial report that either vindicates the person or otherwise indict him.
Well, I may not be Shraj, but I'm quite curious. What's the source of your intelligence?
I cannot disclose that on television, but, well, if you look at it, we are barely 5 months into this government. So if a public officer is seen in public giving out dollars, and we are in Ghana, it's not even Ghana, giving out dollars to people, who knows the number of people that dollars have been given is only the one that we've seen on television that we can speak to. But those that have not been captured, we can't speak to it. So it's proper that we put some of these petitions forward so that proper investigations can take place. And it will also serve as a deterrent to those who occupy public office so that they know that citizens are watching. This time the youth are watching, and we are not going to take anything for granted.
If it was Cedi,
it is not about the amount of money that was given. It's about the intelligence that I picked after the video.
You say that the video is what triggered.
If it was 200 Ghana cedi, and I have picked intelligence that this amount of inflows is going to this person's account, I would have still gone to petition Shraj to find out the source of income. Yes, I receive a lot of threats. Some individuals are giving me messages and threatening me. I have them on my phone, so I'm even planning to move to the nearest police station, where I'll lodge an official complaint to the police.
Okay. Please, thank you for talking to us. Now, we have a lawyer. Hesimam also joins.
Crying for...
All right, now several reactions are coming after this petition came up, and also at the back of the Sami Jemfi issue about the dollar gift there. Now, joining the call for sanctions, the New Patriotic Party is urging the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Criminal Investigations Department to investigate the matter. My colleague Kenneth Jesse just returned from a news conference held earlier today at the party's headquarters and joins me in studio with more details. Kenneth, what reason did the party give, for the OSP to get involved?
Well, first of all, they say that Sami Jemfi, just by the mere fact that he gave the US dollar to Nana Grada, has breached a number of laws like the Foreign Exchange Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and the President's recently launched Code of Conduct, which they say if the President fails to act on it, will be rendered useless. They say that Sami Jemfi has not been paid since he was made the acting CEO of a gold board. So they are questioning where he started living that opulence lifestyle, where he got the money to give out to Nana Grada and also use some to buy vehicles.
We say without fear of contradiction that in the absence of Mr. Sami Jemfi providing direct evidence of the source of funding, thousands of United States dollars found in his car, seen in the video widely circulated on social media, these funds are proceeds of unlawful or criminal enterprise by Mr. Sami Jemfi. Section 1 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Act 1044, makes the possession, concealment, conversion, disguise, or transfer that is or forms part of an unlawful activity an offense punishable by a term of imprisonment or up to 10 years. Do not forget that this is the same section, the same provision Mr. Sami Jemfi, the same provision he used in criticizing Madame Cecilia Dapa, and he says that it was clear. This is the same provision. We call on the lawful establishment investigative agencies of state, the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Criminal Investigation Department, Cedi of Ghana Police, to investigate the activities of Mr. Sami Jemfi in his short tenure as acting chief executive officer. And again, you are being told that all appointees, including ministers, they have not even received their salary since they had the appointment. All of them. That is the information we have. To investigate the activities of Mr. Sami Jemfi in a short tenure as acting chief executive officer of both PMMMC and the Ghana Gold Board. These bodies must search all his houses, probe any properties acquired in his stay so far in government, and if possible, prosecute him for failure to show the source of huge sums of money found in his possession, out of which he gleefully sprayed some around. And we all saw the video. We all saw the video and how he counted the dollars as if it was a counting machine. Very, very fast. And afterwards, and you could saw where he even picked the money from. You could see that, yes, you have a lot of it stacked in there. And then how he gleefully was counting the money to Madame Agrada.
So that's the national organizer of the NPP, Henry Nana Boachide. Kenneth, what else has the party been saying?
Well, the party has also called on President John Dramani Mahama to possibly interdict him, make him step aside as CEO of Gold Board and investigate him. They have cited the example of Cecilia Dapa's case where, her house helps stole millions of US dollars. allegedly, the case is still in court. They say that Sami Gyamfi was one of the most vocal persons who spoke against this when the incident happened. So Cecilia Dapa, according to them, the president made her resign, and she was investigated by the OSP and was exonerated. So they want Sami Gyamfi to be passed through the same process.
We also call on the president to immediately interdict Mr. Sami Gyamfi as an acting chief executive officer of Ghana Gold Board. Or at least he should interdict him pending the conduct of the investigation by the criminal investigative authorities of the state. We cannot but remember when huge sums of money, and this is the principle here, please let's pay attention. We cannot but remember that when huge sums of money was reported to have been stolen from the residence of Madam Cecilia Dapa, a woman who had worked in high places for over 40 years before the incident, had been NP since 2001, as well as a deputy minister and also a minister. And she is married to a well-known rich architect and a consultant, well-known, with nearly 60 years experience in the profession. She was made to resign. This principle is cardinal. Under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a similar issue happened. Madam Cecilia Dapa was made to resign immediately by the president. Investigations were duly conducted by the OSP against Madam Cecilia Dapa and her husband. After what the OSP described as 7 months of extensive investigation and 4 months of collaborative investigation, it concluded that their investigation did not establish any evidence of corruption, corruption-related offenses, or procurement breaches against the suspect. We require the same standard to be applied here.
Oh, this is top story. Let's bring in Mustafa Gbande, his Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. Mustafa, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me, Brace.
Okay, we also have on the line Haruna Mohammed, his Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. Haruna, I'm grateful to you for joining us. But let me start with you, Mustafa Gbande. We understand that there was a meeting at the Presidency yesterday between Sami Gyamfi and the Chief of Staff. All the many Ghanaians are asking for is action. What was the outcome of that particular meeting?
What action are Ghanaians?
But what was the outcome of that particular meeting?
I'm just saying that, number one, it's important to recognize the responsibility of the entire government machinery in this matter, where the Honorable Chief of Staff swiftly, after the time his attention was drawn to this matter, summoned the individual in question to his outfit. And also, you remember that even before we get to the invitation, my brother and my colleague, Sami Gyamfi, who is the National Communication Officer of the NDC, took cognizance of the fact that a lot of our foot soldiers and party supporters were not happy to the extent that it was Agrada this, gesture was extended to. Number two, we also recognize.
But Bande, we know all of what is it. No, hold on. We also don't have the luxury of time. I'm asking, what was the outcome of this particular meeting?
I cannot speak for the Chief of Staff, because if the President intends to communicate to you, he will do so, Grace. I believe that you should let us respond to the MPP. The President, who is our President,
launched the. Hold on. Hold on, Bande. I'm saying that the government, led by President John Dramani Mahama, launched the code of conduct for his officers. And we know that once you launch the code of conduct, then, of course, if there's a conduct out there that sort of calls that particular code into question, an action has to take place. That's why I'm asking, what has been done, especially when a few days ago this code of conduct was launched?
Conduct was a policy document that regulates conduct of public officials. All right? The code of conduct I haven't read any provision in the code of conduct that says that you should not express gestures to people. All right? And so it will be very difficult. You are inviting somebody to enact a law that didn't exist, to enact a policy that didn't exist, simply because we have sound Ghanaians who believe that, look, we are not happy about this and we believe that it should never happen again. The young man comes and apologizes to the people of Ghana. You have people like the MPP who are morally deficient to criticize this matter, talking all manner of things, and you don't want us to respond. How can you call these somebody sharing money as a source of a criminal enterprise? How can you say that? And Nanabi is saying these things. You won't let us, respond fully to it. Number one, Sammy Jemfi is a sound Ghanaian who works, who is credible. Okay? Now, he is set up gold board within 2 or 3 months. If you gave the same task to MPP, from Apenyo Markins to Nanabi to my brother Haruna, they will go and set up a Ponzi scheme. When they wanted to do gold for oil, they had the opportunity to do that. They set up a Ponzi, a criminal enterprise, of which all of us know.
Which one is this criminal enterprise you're referring to? Because we haven't heard anything.
They are gold for oil. Okay, couldn't yield the kind of benefit the nation is getting from these gold.
And that's what you call a Ponzi scheme?
What did I say?
Is that what you call a Ponzi scheme?
We all knew what it is. We knew the outcome. What was the outcome?
Well,
it was a Ponzi scheme.
So you're saying that
they have been in power for 8 years.
Bande, your point is that no offense has been committed here. Is that what you're saying?
Sammy Jemfi has remained one of the targets of the MPP to silence and to destroy. And so they think that this is something to hang on. But the people who are talking, they lack the moral credibility to talk about this matter. Okay. I don't see a crime. I see Ghanaians who are unhappy about a conduct. They have complained. The young man took responsibility, apologized to the people of Ghana. And for me, this is clearly a leader who is willing to grow because he takes responsibility, takes criticisms, apologizes him, and promise to reform. It's a lesson to all of us.
Let me bring in the MPP at this time, and Haruna Mohammed is with us. Haruna, you are inviting the OSP to investigate this particular matter. What exactly do you want the OSP to investigate?
Thank you very much, Kojo. I will say good evening to your cherished listeners, including my brother, because he's in government. He has forgotten of the courtesies of greeting. It is very unfortunate that we are here and Kama is catching up with our brothers in the NDC.
There is no Kama here.
Kama is catching up with them. Today, he's finding it very difficult to express himself because there is that grand style of them performing abysmally and closing the eyes of the people of Ghana. There were these videos that were going on of parliamentary candidates who were spreading money, which was not even in foreign currency, but in Ghanaian Cedi. The OSP invited them to appear before and conduct investigations on this. And this is a matter that is before us, where a national officer of the NDC, who is also a CEO of a newly formed gold board, who has not received a peswa, a dime, as a salary, is seen fetching dollars from a bag with the remaining of dollars in the car, even more than what he's holding in his hand. And we all know that President Mahama launched a code of conduct.
Sorry for breaking you, but once you mentioned that, did you see for yourself there were remaining stack of dollars in the car, as you mentioned?
You heard the woman say that, why count? Just give it to me.
Wow.
He counted and left some of the money.
Can you imagine this? The videos are there. Please. I was
allow him to make his point.
You see, you are becoming.
Bande, please allow him to make his point. Aaron, go on. Let me hear you. But again, you are basing your judgment on hearsay, on what the woman says. You have not seen it.
We've all seen it in the video. Take the video and look at it. Take the video. He picked it from a bag, and he did not just pick that money alone. The money was enough in the bag, and he picked, and it was foreign currency.
To be sincere, Haruna, I've watched the video. Haruna, I've watched the video several times. I didn't see that.
President Mahama has launched a code of conduct.
Okay.
But he needs to accept that.
Bande, please. Let's respect each other. When you were speaking, he was on. He kept quiet. Let me do the job. I'll get you the time. You can address the issues that you think you have to. Okay. Yeah. Haruna, let me hear you.
Yes. President Mahama launched a code of conduct. Nobody forced him. We did not reach out a social contract for him to come out with a code of conduct. The core values of the code of conduct is on integrity, honesty, impartiality, respect, decency, incorruptibility, competence, and professionalism. In all these words that I've mentioned, that the code of conduct stresses. And I'm surprised that my brother is saying that he has not broken any part of the code of conduct. President Mahama is very clear in his mind in terms of accountability. This is a gentleman who has not taken a dime as a salary. Who has not taken a dime. And he's doing this opulence in the public. Even laws of Ghana fringes on what he has done.
But Haruna, I get you, but you're also alleging that because he has not received any payment since he assumed the office, he does not have money to that tune to be able to give some out to people.
That is why we are asking for him to be investigated.
Okay.
When he was in opposition, he never had that money to share. And when he was in opposition, the same laws that we are quoting, that he quoted against Cecilia Dapa and quoted against the current Chief Justice who has been suspended, was the same thing he's quoting. He was being so much suspicious. And that is why I'm saying that karma is catching up with these people. And I believe that it is too early for them to cry. The law must work in this country. President Mahama has been put to test to ensure that he is able to take a decision in this particular manner. I know that President Mahama is indecisive, but I want him to decide on this particular matter. Yes, we must let the laws of Ghana work. And I believe that the Anti-Money Laundering Act, the laws that governs that, the exchange, foreign exchange laws that we have, we must make sure that this particular thing works.
But Haruna, when it comes to the Anti-Money Laundering Act, specifically where did Sami Gyamfi breach?
I think that Nanabi has quoted a specific portion of the Anti-Money Laundering Act where Sami Gyamfi has specifically breached.
So he says, let me help you. He says,
Section 1.
Exactly.
Section 1 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act. It makes the possession, concealment, conversion, disguise, or transfer that is or form part of an unlawful activity, an offense punishable by term of imprisonment up to a 10 years imprisonment. He has quoted this particular anti-money laundering, this section 1. He has quoted it against Cecilia Dapa. He has quoted it against several other individuals. It is the same quote that is being used against him because he's also engaged in blissfully, publicly displaying money, even in foreign currency. And we are calling for him to be investigated.
Okay.
He should be either be suspended or he should be made to resign, and this matter should be investigated.
Okay.
The special prosecutor should take up this matter very seriously and get this matter being investigated and discharged of so that we get to know. President Mahama wants honesty, he wants decency, he wants people to ensure that they contribute positively to his government, but not people who have not done anything, people who have not received any money in terms of remuneration is having this quantum of money.
Bande, I mean, we understand that even people in government aren't happy about what is happening and want an action taking. I mean, can Ghanaians be assured of some action being taken here, or you still stand by that your position that no offense has been committed here, so there is nothing the president or government can do on this?
Blaze, as we stand today, we are at the mercy of His Excellency the President, as far as this matter is concerned. We are at the mercy of the people of Ghana as far as this matter is concerned, particularly under the circumstance that there are leaders who fail to take responsibilities and the ones that take responsibilities. And then Sammy Gyamfi, even before we get to this road, have recognized the people who have drawn his attention to how immoral that act would have been, how inappropriate it would have been. He took to the street to apologize. I think that for me is sufficient enough. But when the MPP is inviting President Mahama to apply, to manufacture a law that doesn't exist, to crucify an appointee or an individual simply because the MPP had made it their business, for me, I'm surprised. And it's quite unfortunate because we all know the law is the law. You cannot, invent a law that is not codified, that is not known, that is strange, particularly when a person's behavior is concerned. Because, the MPP insists that you should sack the person. I believe that we will continue to take criticisms from the people of Ghana. We will continue to take criticisms from our active supporters who do not want to see our government fail, who do not want to see young appointees fail. Those criticisms exist to shape our path as we continue to serve. And for me, I thank the people of Ghana having spoken on this matter. We will not allow the MPP to cross that line because the people who are talking to you lack the moral decency to talk about this matter. They are corrupt. They supervise thievery. These are the people who brought pain to our country. We are struggling in our inexperience, in our imperfections to serve. We will make mistakes. We will learn from the mistakes and we will move on. But we will not allow these characters to come and criticize this man. They don't have the moral ground to talk about it. Dismiss anything they say. They don't have the capacity.
But I'm grateful to you. Haruna Mohammed, so do you have a deadline within which you want the president and the OSP to act on this matter?
Well, we need it as soon as possible. I believe that the people of the MPP are not Togolese. We are neither Ivorians. We are Ghanaians. And the president has the responsibility to listen to everybody. He's not a president for the NDC. He's a president for the good people of Ghana. And we think that the president must act now. He must take a decision on this. When we come to morality, I don't think that the NDC will be teaching us the issues of morality. These are persons who have committed so much heinous crimes in this country. We all know that when it comes to political governance, it is only the MPP that has not staged a coup in this country. What they have done, people heads that they have shaped.
Well, that's not what we are discussing here.
No, I understand. But
exactly, so don't go there.
Look, we even have the uprightness to even speak on such matters. Look, have you heard about money being missing under people's bed? Have you heard about that? Have you heard about so many other atrocities that have been caused in this country? That we, as MPP, an upright political party, a liberal democratic party, a conservative party in the whole of Africa, cannot speak on a moral matter.
I'm grateful to you. Haruna Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. Mustafa Gbande is Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. This has been Top Story brought to you by Telecel Connect Energies. My name is Samuel Kojo. Up next is Newsnight.
Abeg, fix me go betete Ghana. No garri, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no.
Problem no day. I fit handle am.
For Telecel, we the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, you fit get your own data and call packages. Fala! Made For Me bundles like the way you the want town. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
Brush your teeth every day and night. Up and down and all around. Brush the clean and bright. Brush your teeth. Brush with mom and dad. Underneath and
cavity protection.
For 10 times stronger.
This advert is FDA approved.
Where do your hopes and dreams take flight? The money you've earned, the future shining bright. At Petra, we're not just here for your retirement plan. We are here for the life you've imagined and then some. From your child's education to your dream home's door, we'll help you achieve what you're striving for. Petra is here, steady and strong. Your wealth in safe hands, where it belongs. With investments that grow at rates that compete, we build your future with every heartbeat. That's Petra, your partner. Come joy or strife, guiding you toward the dreams that define your life. For your pensions, investments, loans, and more, visit our website at petraonline.com or dial *447 *70#. Petra, achieve more.
And tonight, government files criminal charges against two former top officials of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund over the failed $3 billion Accra SkyTrain project. Details here on Newsnight. Also tonight, the presidential corruption caution. President John Mahama's private warning to his cabinet ministers and appointees as he chases what the General Secretary of the NDC calls his legacy term.
This president is not scared to fire you at the least opportunity. He's not scared to ensure that if you do what is wrong, you are dealt with. He's here for legacy. He wants to ensure that he leaves a legacy. And I can tell you that even within the corridors of cabinet, this statement has been said again and again.
We'll hear from the General Secretary of the NDC, who says the party will not shield any party member found to be corrupt.
This time around, no matter who you are, if you get involved and you do anything that amounts to literally shortchanging the country, that party at the highest level is not going to shield you. The party at the highest level is not going to in any way say that, oh, it's a party person, let go. No. Reset means reset. It's simply the business as usual is over.
Also tonight, minority considers triggering impeachment proceedings against President John Mahama, accusing him of willfully breaching the constitution by traveling abroad without leaving an acting president in charge.
And at the appropriate time, if we have to invoke the impeachment proceedings, we will do so. We will not sit idly by for the constitution given to us to be violated without any consequences.
We'll hear from the NDC.
Justice Bafubole has assumed the mantle of leadership in the absence of these three personalities that I have mentioned. So Bafubole is in firm control of affairs in our country.
Well, the opposition MPP is also demanding that President Mahama compels all NDC executives holding public office to resign.
The continued holding of political appointments alongside public office positions undermines the principle of neutrality in public service, and these individuals remain bound by their party loyalties.
In business,
President John Mahama vows to make stabilizing the energy sector and the economy his major priority, insisting ongoing reforms already yielding the desired results.
And as well as Brecum Chelsea head coach Samuel Boadu and 4 other players charged by the Ghana Football Association for alleged misconduct during the FA Cup semi-final game against the Santa Kotoko.
Business Sports Plus, your view 0551111997 or here on Newsnight. And we start tonight with the latest case filed against the former appointee of the Akufo-Addo administration. Now, former board chair of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, Professor Christopher Meyer-Kumfi, and former CEO Solomon Nasamwa are facing criminal charges over the failed $3 billion Accra Train Sky project. Now, the charges stem from allegations of financial mismanagement and lack of diligence, including a $2 million payment made to Africa Investment Holdings in 2019 before feasibility studies were conducted. The charges, which were filed at the Criminal Division of the High Court in Accra by the Attorney General includes willfully causing financial loss to the state and intentional dissipation of public funds. Legal Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins me with details of this. Kweku, let's start with the key charges brought against the two accused. What are they?
That Christopher Miyako and Solomon Asamoah faces a conspiracy to willfully cause financial loss to the state and then intentionally dissipating public funds. And all of this relate to the Criminal and Other Offences Act and the Public Property Protection Decree. In total, the Attorney General has slapped these two persons with 6 counts in total, and that is what they have to respond to when their charges are taken in court.
And what does the state allege happened with the $2 million?
Well, Evans, according to the charge sheet, both Solomon Asamoah and Christopher Ameya, while serving as board chair and CEO of the Ghana Investment Infrastructure Fund, authorized the transfer of about $2 million to a company called Africa Investment Holdings for shares in the AI SkyTrain Consortium. The problem for the state, however, is that this payment was made without proper board approval and due diligence, and that is the allegation of the state. And that indeed, despite paying this $2 million, the SkyTrain project has never been built.
Who are these accused persons?
So Solomon Asamoah at the time acted as the chief executive officer of the Ghana Infrastructural Investment Fund between 2017, when the Akufo-Addo first came to office, and the end of the tenure in 2024. Professor Ameya Kumfi, who did serve previously under John Jacob Kufuor as education minister and all that, also chaired the board of this fund between 2017 and 2021. This is the period within which this amount of money was spent, and prosecutors say these two persons have not been able to account for the funds.
See, and what happens now?
We know now that the charges have been filed. The state is expected to file their witness statement, but prior to this, these accused persons will have to come to court. Their plea will be taken as whether or not they are guilty or not. When they plead guilty, not guilty as we expect, a full trial will ensue, and then the state will now have to come and file their witness statement. They will file other disclosures, and then the trial judge, whoever the Chief Justice will appoint to lead this trial, will set the appropriate date. They will be conferencing, and then a full-blown trial will ensue.
Kweku, thank you very much. I want to bring in Martin Kpebu. He was a member of the oral committee that was put up shortly after the NDC won power. He's a lawyer, also joins us on the line right now. Martin, Operation Recover or Loot, of which you were a member of that particular committee, I wonder, was this one of the issues that you documented for the consideration of the Attorney General?
Yeah, Evan. No, this particular case. Oh, sorry, this is a SkyTrain. Yes. I think my mind was on Edubuahi. My apologies. Yes. You know, SkyTrain is one case that the people of Ghana were very livid about. Yes. People of Ghana were livid about, and so as soon as the committee was formed, it's one of the ones that people publicly told us. I mean, so as I remember at least 3 occasions. People saw me and they were like, hey, the SkyTrain. So that's one case that, I mean, we couldn't have left out. Yes, it certainly was part. And it's heartwarming to see that today it has finally been filed.
You've seen the charge sheet. Does it reflect what you discovered yourself when you looked into it closer with your committee?
What I would say is that publicly, so this is what we did. Remember, the remit of the committee was to receive complaints. We didn't do investigations. So, yes, some of the facts look familiar. The main fact being that we had paid $2 million and yet we had no SkyTrain. $2 million of the taxpayers' money, yet no SkyTrain, right? So issues of without authorization, etc., are matters that have now been uncovered in the through the investigations.
But from what we know, and speaking to the principals who were responsible for the disbursement at the time, they tell you that the $2 million was simply to acquire shares in the Africa Investment Holdings how does that translate to something that naturally would lead to the manifestation of a Sky Train? Is to acquire shares. That's the argument that they've put up.
No, but we're publicly told that there will be Sky Trains. That's what we're told. That there was going to be Sky Trains, and even pictures were brought in, etc. So, an argument that the money was used to acquire shares is neither here nor there. Ultimately, Sky Trains were to be built in Ghana, period. So, anything short of that will not cut master. That's what we are sure. There was so much excitement that, hey, there will be Sky Trains. Like, I mean, well, I don't remember all, but I think even some, as to whether it's true or not, it was even made to look like that would be the first in Africa or something like that. You know, there was a lot of excitement. So it's too late in the day to now go back on those words.
Let me bring in Adam Senanu, who is with the Anti-Corruption Coalition and joins us on the line right now. Adam, I've seen the charge sheet. The $2 million that had become the fundamental key issue around which we've seen the charges filed and then the prosecution started, and the whole controversy was around where is that amount of money. There isn't a case to be made as far as the Attorney General is concerned for retrieval of the funds. And yes, there's a case there for prosecution, but we also want the money returned to the public chest. Isn't the part of the process that the Attorney General should also be concerned about? Yes, throw people in jail, definitely, but we want our monies back too.
Well, yes. I mean, if you invest into any company and it's a matter of shares, you should be able to de-invest those shares unless there is some rule that prevents you from doing so. In fact, assuming that this is an entity that is known to be profitable, over the period, there should have been dividends that are declared which should inure to the state and the good people of this country. So there are several questions that can be asked. What due diligence was done to make sure this was a profitable venture? Or in this instance, there was a product we're expecting to see. Who buys a product without having seen a sample of that product and being sure that the company that is, as it were, holding itself out as capable of providing that product has done this elsewhere? We're discovering too late that they didn't even have the license for the technology. And so the money is stuck somewhere. We should be able to go after our money as well and say we are no longer interested in having those shares.
And Martin, that is an important part of this process, or it should be an important part of the process, shouldn't it? The fact that we want our monies back beyond the prosecution.
Absolutely, yes. And even the Attorney General himself, an erudite professor, has made that point in the past, that it's not every case that he will insist on pressing charges. He's looking to recover a lot of the money to the public chest. So, I mean, it means that he's open. And so the fact that this case is going to court may be an indication that recovering the money may be extremely challenging. Because Dr. Ayini made it very clear on the first press conference on the Edubuahi matter. He was very, very clear. Maybe you can let your producers get that press conference, the clip. So he says that he's not looking to press charges in every case. He's looking to recover money to the public chest. And we have made this point ad nauseum that, look, we don't benefit from just throwing people into jail. If the person can return the money and pay a decent interest compensation to the government, we should take it. Remember, the Atu-Forcing case. Sorry, I say Atu-Forcing. No, the Atu-Asian. The Atu-Asian case, how we're pushing that they should take the properties, but eventually it turned out that there were very complex issues with those properties. They were not available, and that's how come eventually Atu-Asian ended up in jail. So Dr. Ayini, I mean, if we talk about recovery to Dr. Ayini, it's like we are preaching to the converted. So let's see, but we can still ask him all the same. But I believe that based on his previous statements, the fact that this case is in court is an indication that it has been difficult up to this stage to do recovery. But sometimes when you press the charges like this, when the good professor looks at it and sees that Charlie, hey, he could be in trouble, it's possible for his friends and sympathizers to come together and raise that money, and then they can settle the case. So maybe friends and sympathizers of Professor Emia Ekunfi should look. And look at how to settle this case.
Martin Kpebu was a member of the Oral Committee, Adams Senanu anti-corruption campaigner with the Anti-Corruption Coalition. Let's stay on the subject of corruption, shall we? Tonight, as the controversy surrounding the Gold Board CEO viral cash video rages on, we are learning about a private stern warning issued by President Mahama to his cabinet ministers. The General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Kwete, who sits in cabinet, has disclosed how the president pursuant to his desire to chase a legacy term has served notice to all appointees he will sack or prosecute any of them found engaged in corruption. Listen to him.
If anyone within a party or within government believes that this is just business as usual, it means that the person or the group of people don't understand what is going on.
When you say it's not business as usual,
as opposed to what happened over the last 8 years, where you could literally take advantage of some of these things and then take care of yourself and do it at the expense of the country. This time around, no matter who you are, if you get involved and you do anything that amounts to literally shortchanging the country, that party at the highest level is not going to shield you. The party at the highest level is not going to in any way say that, oh, it's a party person, let go. No. Reset means reset. It's simply the business as usual is over. Things have to be done properly. Now, we can also not simply give up and say that simply because in the past there were challenges, we cannot rise to do better things today.
I mean, but isn't that rhetoric?
Yeah.
I mean, we will deal with you. But parties and politicians have said in the past. We had a president once who came and said, if you want to make money, my government is not the place to be.
That's wrong.
We saw what happens. The anti-corruption reports told the story. I mean, and you have to just look at the corruption perception index report.
I understand that.
When I hear you say that as a general secretary,
it's different.
We've had this before.
It's different.
What's different?
It's different. We're talking about a bar that was pretty low. We're talking about a previous government that clearly was heavy on talk, but too little on genuine, should I call it, delivery. We're talking about a president that really just believed that it's all about reading great speeches and not so much about putting his foot down and ensuring that things are done well. Now, John Mahama is not perfect, but even in his previous mandate, he clearly did a number of things that very many leaders wouldn't do. He clearly showed, for example, that if you don't get it right, he's not hesitant to take decisions that ought to be taken. For example, over the last 8 years, you barely could see a president having the courage to even do reshuffle. It's almost as if he was even scared of his own appointees. This president is not scared to fire you at the least opportunity. He's not scared to ensure that if you do what is wrong, you are dealt with. He's shown that in the past. And this time around, because again, he said that he's here for legacy, it simply means that the resolve is even higher.
He said that?
Oh, yeah. He said it again and again, that he's here for legacy. He wants to ensure that he leaves a legacy. So he's not here to come and countenance anyone shortchanging the country and just thinking about himself. And now as General Secretary, and I can tell you that even within the corridors of cabinet, this statement has been said again and again.
That the president
meaning the very highest group of people who are in charge of this country do know that none of them is going to be spared if they do anything that shortchanges the country.
They've been told in all certain terms.
Absolutely, in all certain terms, not just by the leadership, as a presidential leadership, but also by the leadership of the party. So it means everybody on the same wavelength. You are on your own. We are not covering nobody. Do what is right, because Ghana has to simply set a new benchmark for leadership, and that means the country must be number one.
I mean,
and that is the General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Kwete, in this yet to be aired interview. It's going to be on PM Express later tonight. You want to watch the full thing from 9 p.m. Already you can find it on many social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube. It's also going to be on myjoyonline.com. But I want to bring in Vitus Azim, anti-corruption campaigner himself, former head of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, on the president's private warning to his appointees in cabinet that we're now learning about. Mr. Azim, I'm grateful for your time. I asked that question of the General Secretary, and I want your assessment of this because you've seen this all. Is this mere rhetoric that beyond that, without concrete evidence of commitment, stays as words?
Well, until we see the action, we cannot just take his word seriously. Because like you said, it has happened in the past. Politicians have said several things and nothing has happened. Kojo promised zero tolerance for corruption. When he came into office, we didn't see much. Even Mahama himself, in his first regime, his code of conduct, he launched a code of conduct in 2013. We didn't see anybody being sanctioned based on the code of conduct. As for Nana Kugado, we can't talk. It was too serious. So until we see action, words are not just enough for me.
I mean, the first evidence of this commitment is found, if you like, in the code of conduct that shortly after he's taking office, within the first 120 days, he has a code of conduct adopted, and he's clearly told us what he wants to do when it comes to that code of conduct. Isn't that at least an indication that he means business?
Well, you can say it's an indication, but it doesn't mean anything if no action is followed up on it. You see, this country, we have several laws on corruption or anti-corruption, but they are just lying there as laws. No enforcement, nothing is followed up. So until we see actual action being taken, I don't think that we should be too excited about it.
What do you want to see to be convinced that these words he's already told his appointees in cabinet meetings, he really means business and he wants to fulfill it?
We expect prompt investigations into credible allegations of corruption by his appointees to be followed by actual action like removal, recovery of monies, and all that. That will show that he's really committed to doing what he has said.
Vitus Azim, thank you very much. And that there is the former head of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Vitus Azim, on the disclosure we're learning about tonight, that the president had told his cabinet ministers what he will do to them if they are found corrupt. We've just been hearing it from Fifi Kwete. You can find that full interview tonight at 9 p.m. on PM Express. Well, the minority in Parliament say they are considering starting impeachment proceedings against President John Mahama. The MPP accused the president of engineering what they call an egregious breach of the Constitution, which has left Ghana without an acting president. Now, the President Mahama has been out of the country since last week. His vice has been on sick leave, with the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, also currently outside the country. Now, this, the minority says, has led to a serious breach of the Constitution, vowing action against the president must be taken. We'll hear from the minority shortly about what exactly is their case. Kukwa Santi of our Legal Affairs Desk explains.
Article 68 of the 1992 Constitution provides that a vice president shall assume the role of the president whenever the president travels outside the country or is unable to perform the functions of his office. But even before the president traveled, the vice president had been outside Ghana for weeks on sick leave. Ironically, the president's first stop outside Ghana was the United Kingdom, where he visited his vice president before heading to Togo and then Ivory Coast. With both John Mahama and Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman out of Ghana, the baton automatically passed to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, who is required under law to take the oath of the president and act in his stead. But Alban Bagbin has also since traveled out of Ghana. Since the general assumption is that the next in line of succession is the Chief Justice, Questions have been asked as to whether the acting Chief Justice, Paul Bafuboni, has been sworn in to act as president in the absence of the first three in the line of succession. Professor Kojo Etua of the University of Ghana School of Law demanded full disclosure.
When the president was not in, and we know that the vice president is also not in, he should have been sworn into office. And when he was leaving, measures should have also been taken for him to hand over to the Chief Justice. And the Chief Justice would then have been sworn in by the most senior of the justices at the Supreme Court. And that should have been a clear situation where steps have been taken to fill all the gaps. And therefore, the current president should be the acting Chief Justice.
Article 60 of the Constitution, which is partly titled Succession to the Presidency, does not mention the Chief Justice at all. The minority contend that he is not in line to be president in the current situation.
Well, the minority, they have a statement out already on this particular matter on the back of an initial one that they had issued. Legal counsel to the MPP minority and MP for Swame John Darko accuses the president of acting like he was above the law and says his side will not hesitate to bring impeachment proceedings, start the process in Parliament to have the president removed.
Our position is very clear. Anybody who has to act as a president must take the oath of the president. And so you remember, anytime the president and vice president are out of the country, the Speaker of Parliament will have to take the oath of president. And so as it stands now, nobody has taken that oath of president. And you have to take that oath of president in the presence of Parliament. I'm a parliamentarian. You have been called by the office of the Speaker for anybody to be sworn in as acting president. So it's very intents and purposes. At the time the president was outside the country, nobody had sworn, the oath of president to act as a president. And so that vacuum had been created. And you see, the problem is that if we allow these constitutional violations to go on, today it is Article 60. The next time it may be Article 18. The next time it may be your human rights. And by the time you realize the president says, well, I want to go for the third term, because the guardrails that we have put there, he will consistently violate them without any punishment. When the president took the oath of president, he said that when he willfully violates the Constitution, he will suffer the penalty thereof. Is the president ready to now subject himself to his oath of office, to be subjected to the impeachment processes for willful violation of the constitutional provisions? These are questions we need to ask. And as a people of Ghana, we must all fight against this act of the president. We should, and the problem is that at the time the president was leaving, the Speaker of Parliament had already left. So when the president was leaving the country, he knew, or at best ought to have known, that he was going to create that vacuum and that his leaving the country was going to be a breach of the Constitution. But now Emperor Mr. President decided that, look, I am the emperor, I can do whatever I like, damn the consequence, and left the country. Is that what the president for? To briefly violate our Constitution? And so we will keep bringing these up, and at the appropriate time, if we have to invoke the impeachment proceedings, we will do so. We will not sit idly by for the Constitution given to us to be violated without any consequence.
Well, the NDC MP for Bodi and the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Samson, he says the MPP's claims are simply baseless.
I think it's unfortunate that the minority will accept that. Now, the Constitution has specified that in the absence of the President, the Vice President assumes leadership. In the absence of the Vice President, the Speaker is sworn in by the Chief Justice to assume leadership in the country. Equally, in the absence of the Speaker, the mantle falls on the Chief Justice. Do we have Chief Justice in this country or not? Yes, we have His Lordship Justice Bafuboni as the acting Chief Justice. So it is believed that Justice Bafuboni has assumed the mantle of leadership in the absence of these three personalities that I have mentioned. So Bafuboni is in firm control of affairs in our country. So there is no leadership crisis. There is nothing like that. It's automatic. It's automatic. It's assumed that the Chief Justice in the country takes over and, manage the country. It's automatic. Since they are just being petty They're just being petty about the whole matter. They're just being petty because, like I've said.
Let's quickly bring in a quick question. Sari is a former law school director, joins us right now on the line. Is a lawyer himself, reads each constitution to give us some education on this very important, controversial subject. Thank you, sir, for your time here on Newsnight. You agree there is a case to be made for constitutional breach as far as the president is concerned that may justify an impeachment process against him?
Thank you very much. Whether there's a breach of the Constitution will depend upon several factors. One, before the president may be impeached for being absent and not being able to perform his duties, one would need to find out whether indeed the president, is absent from the country. Now, the Constitution stipulates that in Article 60, Clause 8, that whenever the president is absent from Ghana or is for any other reason unable to perform the functions of his office, the vice president shall perform the functions of the president until the president returns or is able to perform his functions. And then 11, where the president and the vice president are both unable to perform the functions of the president, the Speaker of Parliament shall perform those functions until the president or the vice president is able to perform those functions or a new president assumes office, as the case may be. 12, the Speaker shall, before commencing to perform the functions of the president, that is, take and subscribe the oath set out in relation to the office. So first of all, we need to find out whether or not the president has acted constitutionally before the president travels or finds that absent in the country. The Constitution stipulates in Article 59 that the president shall not leave Ghana without prior notification in writing, signed by him and addressed to the Speaker of Parliament. So let us ask ourselves, is the president, out of the country before the president travels or prior to his absence? Did he notify the speaker in writing? Was the notification signed by him? If the answer is in the negative, then one can say that he has breached the Constitution.
That is the position. That is the position of the minority, that wasn't done. And they also claim that because the speaker also subsequently left the jurisdiction, then the fourth individual in that chain who should have been the acting Chief Justice was also not sworn in at all, and there was no letter formally saying he's acting.
Yes, so if the acting Chief Justice has not been sworn in, he cannot legitimately assume the reins of the presidency because the person must, in accordance with the precedent laid down in the Do Ajaho case, must be sworn in accordance with the provisions of the 1992 Constitution before he can assume, the office of presidency. It is not for nothing that the framers of the Constitution spelled out, those provisions. But one will wonder the circumstances under which the president may travel out of the country without, meeting the requirements laid down in, the Article 59. So for me, sometimes when we are doing politics, some of these things, we will not be told the truth. But if indeed the president just left the country, then, he can be reprimanded. I don't think that, this is an impeachable,
offense. Thank you very much, Kwesi Asare. I'm grateful for your thoughts on this matter. As a former law school director, I wonder where you stand on this. The minority, they've already pitched their camp, already indicating that they may consider triggering impeachment proceedings against the president. Still ahead here on Newsnight. We will take you to Kopiliga basic school in the Tallingsi district where people kneel, squat, and lie on bare floors every day just to learn.
We are using our white uniform to sit on the floor. It's not good for us to sit on the floor. We don't have chairs, that's why we are sitting in the floor like that. Our mothers cannot buy chairs for us. We are not happy at all.
I'm not happy because I have not have kids.
Details of that right after business with George. Hello, George.
Hi, Ivan. The president has been speaking in Ivory Coast, and he's actually vowing to stabilize the energy sector and the economy, making those areas his major priority, insisting that ongoing reforms are already yielding the desired results, and government reveals plans to prioritize Cedi's firm stability rather than sustain appreciation against the US dollar. Be hearing more from the Deputy Minister of Finance. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. Synthesis tanks and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
Spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Shout! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Your family's health should never be a worry, no matter where you are in the world. Are you a Ghanaian in the diaspora, a foreign resident in Ghana, or a Ghanaian looking for the perfect health insurance plan for yourself or your family in Ghana? Then the Apex Ebusiapa Health Cover is what you need. A comprehensive health insurance plan to protect your loved ones. From hospital stays to life-saving treatments, we ensure quality healthcare at an affordable cost. Apex Ebusiapa Health Cover. You don't just send love home, you secure it. Visit Apex Health Insurance at Zion House, Boundary Road, Shashi East Legon, or call 0540-128-256 or 0501-683912. Apex Ebusiapa Health Plan. Global love, local care.
Brush your teeth every day and night. Up and down and all around. Brush the feeling bright. Brush your teeth. Brush with mom and dad. Underneath and in between. Brush the germs away.
Pepsodent, cavity protection. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, dear Miriam, sir.
ɛyɛ stay soft concentrate fabric softener a ɛwɔ sachet mu yɛhyɛ ne din sɛ ɛbɛyi hwam a ɛtena wɔ kyɛ ne hwia ne tena wɔ kyɛ na obiara bɛbisa ho asɛm da mu ne nyinaa sɛ deɛ ne hwam sɛ yi fɛ kwan yɛ sim biara so siesie wɔn ntaareɛ use stay soft a ne hwia ne tena wɔ kyɛ na ne bɔn so da fam koraa ɛyɛ fabric softener ɛyɛ ne ɛsɛ sa choose to stay soft ne hunu nso so yɛ no FDA adi adwade nkrato yɛ ato mu.
Sasso, se come tonton preco. Sasso, se come tonton preco. Edrana drama ne buseshe. Yeah, how can see any malaria? Minya me pone me sasso spray. Every mosquito started run away. Come on, tonton preco. Sasso, mi se come tonton preco. Come tonton preco. Sasso, come tonton preco. Nani sham ne die demonstronko.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, President John Mahama has given the firm assurance that he would work hard to stabilize the energy sector, including clearing its huge debt. He also maintained that the economy will be high on his list. The president disclosed this during the town hall meeting with business leaders at the Africa CEO Summit in Abidjan, Ivory Coast.
Of course, still the focus is on the macroeconomy, trying to stabilize the situation, build confidence, bring back investments. And I think that we're on the right track. I'm cautiously optimistic, and it doesn't keep me awake at night yet, but I think we're on the right path, and one just needs to keep his hands on the steer to make sure that we keep the course.
And that brings me to the topic at hand today, and that is the oil sector, which has, prior to you being in office, been a bit of a sore point for the Ghanaian economy. What do you think has been some of the main challenges with this for Ghana?
I think that the environment got a bit toxic. I don't know for what reason. Government did not seem to prioritize the sector, and so there was a lot of disinvestment. They had little squabbles with all the oil investors. For instance, with Tallow, there was a squabble over taxes. And I think that, it was something that they could have resolved. Tallow went into arbitration and won the arbitration before we came into office. And so on the rest of the issues left to that were in dispute, we are sitting with Tallow and we're resolving them. And I think that that's the way it should go.
And that's President John Mahama speaking in a town hall meeting with business leaders at the Africa CEO Summit ongoing in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. Still on the sector, ineffective revenue mobilization and persistent losses have negatively impacted the country's energy revenue outlook. Now, speaking at the Third-Party Vendors Forum in Accra, the Deputy Minister of Energy and Green Transition, Mensah, affirmed government's commitment to introducing greater private sector participation in the sector to enhance revenue mobilization.
As to which percentage will be seeded off ECG, I earlier indicated that ECG is going to be operational. It is some activities that ECG plays that will be given to the private sector. I cannot quantify to say that it is 10% or 20%, but there's going to be a private sector players coming in or private participation in the activities of the distribution of power. So generation is still intact, transmission is still intact. ECG at the distribution end, their activities is going to be complemented by the private sector. Even ECG as a company doesn't operate, actually run all the value chain by themselves.
Richard John Mensah is the Deputy Minister of Energy and Green Transition. The government has indicated that it plans to focus firmly on stabilizing the Ghana cedi rather than sustained appreciation against the dollar. The local currency has been on that sustained appreciation over the past 2 weeks, raising concerns about the sustainability of the current development. But Deputy Minister of Finance Thomas Nyakwampem says that the ministry rather wants some fair level of stability rather than what is happening now.
What the market is looking for is stability. So
no matter what level we are able to bring it down, whether 12, whether 13, whether 10, the most important thing is for us to make sure that we maintain it there to allow for planning and for businesses to be able to work well. And so that is what we are working towards. But Dr. Bobkin made some important point about reserve accumulation. And that is exactly what we are doing. We are making hay while the sun shines. We know that the price of gold today is high, over $3,000 per ounce. We are also exporting enough gold. And so that is why you see clearly that our reserve has increased from the 6.2 billion in, I think, February last year to about 9.4 billion in February this year. We will continue in this trajectory.
Thomas Nyakwampem is the Deputy Minister of Finance. Still on the local currency, economist Professor Godfrey Bobkin has raised sustainability concerns about the city's performance against the US dollar. Local currency has witnessed one of its strongest gains in recent times, appreciating by more than 10% since the beginning of this year. But Professor Bobkin argues, looking at the current structure of the economy, anyone should be cautious about what is happening to the Ghana city.
You ask yourself, whether since this government took over, there has been any or many transformative interventions in the economy, in improving the fundamentals of the economy, which is anchoring this relative appreciation. The answer will be no, and that is where you want to be careful. And when we talk about the fundamentals of the economy driving exchange rate dynamics, you are looking at whether there is real improvement in the real sector of the economy. We have been here before. Not long ago, there was a drive, especially from the central bank, to drag down the rate significantly. In fact, let's look at even interest rate. Right after the domestic debt exchange, right, there was an attempt to drag the treasury bill rate down significantly to about 15%. So if you see the graph, you will see it. But we couldn't sustain it.
And that is economist Professor Godfrey Bobkin. Let's turn our attention to the stock market. And if you are a shareholder of MTN Ghana, this should be some good news for you, because today it went up again by 2 pesos to close at 3 Ghana cedis, 32 pesos. And it appears that the good financials of MTN Ghana is impacting the good run of the share price on the Ghana Stock Exchange. If you had invested on the Ghana Stock Exchange from the beginning of this year, you also made a return of more than 30% from investing on the Ghana Stock Exchange, far higher than other investment instruments on the Ghanaian market. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
John, thank you very much. We can do sports now.
Yes, Evans, the Ghana Football Association has moved to crack the whip on some officials of Brekum Chelsea, among which include their head coach Samuel Boadu for some alleged misconduct in the game against Kumasi Asante Kotoko, the semi-final match at the Takwa TNA Stadium. According to a statement that was released earlier today by the association, the former Heart of Folk coach is noted to have violated the GFA disciplinary code and the Ghana Premier League regulations. The charges, of course, in relation to the alleged behavior toward the match officials after the final whistle. According to the Ghana Football Association, is alleged that after the match, coach Boadu approached the referee in an aggressive, angry and fierce manner, using inappropriate gestures which constitute misconduct that brings the game into disrepute. The Ghana Football Association has given the head coach until Thursday, May 15, to respond to the charges. And if found guilty, Samuel Boadu could face penalties ranging from a fine to touchline ban or even a suspension from all football-related activities. Also, some 4 other players of Brekum Chelsea, including Mensah, Efrie, Stephen Amankona, Zakaria Fuseni and Seydou Mohamed, have all been cited for misconduct, and we'll be following that closely to see how it all unfolds. But the Ministry of Sports and Recreation, the minister in charge of that outfit, Honorable Adams, has indicated that the ministry is close to establishing a sports fund to reduce their spiritual support which they offer athletes to proper funding of the various federations ahead of tournaments.
The ministry have engaged with many of you the matter of a sports fund and we are inching close to getting that really done. And I believe that when it is done, it will reduce some of the situations where we only give you spiritual support and spiritual backing without the necessary financial backing. We can then move. We back you spiritually and we back you with what it takes to participate. And
that's the Minister for Sports, Honorable Kofi Adams, on the sports fund there. Events, that's it for sports, and we are building up to the 31st of May, Aviation Social Center, and it's Hit FM, Rep Your Jersey. I hope you'll be there.
I will be there.
Yeah,
I will be there. Thank you very much. Now, I want to take you to the Kopoliga Basic School in the Talented District. Children there do not just learn, they suffer for it. They kneel, squat, and lie on bare floor just to take notes. Some endure. Others give up and head for Galamsey sites. In our Crumbling Start series, the latest episode in that series, Emmanuel Jivena reports on a school losing its fight to keep children in class.
The common way of we preserving
It's just past 8 a.m. here at the Kupulga DA Basic School in the Talented District of the Upper East Region. GHS1 pupils are learning about food preservation, but there is little preservation of dignity here.
So when you are keeping the food, you shouldn't let it change.
They wear white uniforms, but that will not stay white for long. Some children are sprawled across the bare cement floor, legs stretched out, using their thighs as makeshift desk. Others, like Blessing Dog, spreads a cloth before sitting.
We don't have chairs, that's why we are sitting in the floor like that. As we ourselves, our mothers cannot buy chairs for us. We are not happy at all.
I told you that consumption means what?
Justice Banda removes his shoe and places them gently beneath his knees to cushion his skin and keep it from bruising.
We are just kneeling down, and some of them is standing. Those people are having the chairs, they are just sitting their chairs. If you want to sit part of them, they are saying you won't sit. Who told you that your father and your mother, they are not buying chairs for you, then their father and their mother buying chairs for him, then you want to go and sit. I'm not happy because I have not have chairs.
Some take turns to stand, balancing exercise books on pillars that now double as makeshift desk. Others lie flat on the floor. This is not just an occasional inconvenience. For these pupils, this is the only way they have known school. Linda Atanga has been here for the past 3 years. Linda sees the impact of poor classrooms conditions every day.
Here is the case, the child is standing, stressed up. How will the child get the outside mind to learn?
The school has 127 pupils and just 4 teachers, including the head teacher. With no teachers available at the moment, these girls have turned their classroom into a football field to pass the time.
When you are coming to school, you will not be happy because you are coming to use your white uniform to sit on the floor.
Despite these conditions, some teachers continue to stay and teach out of commitment, but without urgent support, the school may continue to lose pupils.
Here is a mining community. If the child sees that coming to school gives me more stress, why not go in and do my mining and get money?
These children are eager to learn. They show up each day, but until basic needs like desk, teachers, and shelters are addressed, these children will keep fighting an uphill battle before they even get a chance to write their first external exams. BECE, Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Kupulga, Talented District, Upper East Region.
Well, let's stay on the subject of education because Pecan Energies, together with its partners, has today awarded full scholarships to 20 outstanding students under the Pecan Inspire Scholarship Program for the 2024-2025 academic year. My colleague, Stephen Mensah, has more in the following report.
I come from a sub-community in Kutuboko, Nyamobekim. Those the work that we major in was catching of crabs and washing of cars.
Edwin Tande wakes up each day with a decision no teenager should have to make: go fishing for crabs to survive. His mother, a struggling fishmonger, does what she can, But it has not been enough to keep Edwin in school. His dream of becoming a chemical engineer was slowly slipping through the cracks of poverty.
I used to hawk, and then literally my mom is a fishmonger, and then anytime I close from school, you come to the house, she's done smoking the fish, and she'll give you some, Edward, carry it and go and sell. Most of them that actually took time to or spent much time of this, they got detached from the academics in the sense that this work that we do was really exhausting. Yes, you return from catching of crabs, you return from washing of cars, and you feel exhausted. The next day you sleep, you don't even feel like waking up early to go to school.
Sandra's story is no different. Education became a luxury her family could not afford. She baked and sold pastries just to gather money for books she could not always buy.
I was hawking bread, so I bake and then I sell, saving money, hoping that I can make it through to the university. But it was even very difficult looking at the financial background of my family. Now there is a house where there is no money, so now you want to save. I save, and then the hardship at home even eats into my savings. There was no hope for me of going into the university.
But Edwin and Sandra are finally escaping that trap. They are among the recipients of the Pecan Inspire Scholarship, an initiative by Pecan Energies Ghana that fully funds tertiary education for underserved children. Khadija Amwa is the Chief Executive Officer.
We believe in making a difference in society and giving back to the people. And as you heard, lots of young people who would have been home, fishmongering, not that there's anything wrong with that, but if that's not what the person's ambitions are, they should not be limited to it. And so the idea is to lift people out of poverty and make a difference and give back.
For Edwin, Sandra and others like them, this is more than a chance to go to school. It is a second chance at chasing their dreams. Stephen Mensah's report for Joy News.
And just before we go, a few of your messages on our WhatsApp console. Musa Abattoir says, Evans Mustafa Gbande is right. The more MPP try to bring some agency down, the more he rises as a hero in contemporary Ghanaian politics. Petitioning OSP is nothing but a wild goose chase because there's absolutely nothing to investigate. This one says here, did anyone really see a bag of dollars in the same video making the rounds? What somebody did was not great, but let's not allow people to exaggerate. And another one says these MPP guys have exposed themselves to levels of absurdity. It's unfortunate these are the people who are leading the party. Charles in Legon says Ghanaians woke up to a video in which a young man handed out a bundle of cash, 40,000 says, to he alleges he makes an allegation. Surprisingly, nobody raised an issue, but the same people are now questioning the source of a few dollar notes that somebody gave to Madam Agrada. Those are a few of your messages on the stories we've had so far here on News Night. You want to catch the rest of the stories on our social media platforms, also on myjoyonline.com. Enjoy the rest of your evening.